So welcome to this presentation where we'll be talking about using hypnotherapy as a tool for managing or reducing anxiety symptoms. And I've titled that Getting Your Smile Back in Life. So as I mentioned in this presentation, we'll cover hypnotherapy as a treatment modality that can help reduce symptoms. My name's Kerry Ellis. I'm a mental health wellbeing advocate working as a hypnotherapist, coach and counsellor. So here is a link to a short video on anxiety. It's a really useful video if you haven't seen it before. I've already done a presentation on what anxiety is, and I'm not going to touch on that too much today. But if you're wanting to, for the purposes of either following on with this presentation, you can watch this great YouTube video from Beyond Blue, or you can go back and have a look at the presentation I've already done on what anxiety is. So as I already mentioned, we're going to be talking about using hypnotherapy as a successful strategy to manage and treat anxiety. Hypnosis itself reduces anxiety, and this is done quite simply through relaxation and visualization. Evidence-based research has shown that hypnotherapy is a useful strategy in reducing and managing anxiety. Hypnotherapy can also be useful for treating conditions such as chronic stress, panic attacks, pain, controlling pain, managing pain, and many, many other conditions. Phobia being one in particular that's talked about quite often, along with quitting smoking. So let's start what hypnotherapy actually is. Hypnotherapy is the use of hypnosis in therapy. And hypnosis is best explained as a deep state of concentration and can often be referred to as trance. So, an example would be when we're driving a car, watching a movie, points in time when we're actually deeply concentrating on something to achieve something, aware that there's things going on around us, but they don't bother us. As mentioned, this hypnotic state, it can be referred to by others as trance. And it's a state where the unconscious mind has an increased suggestibility, meaning we can offer suggestions that are consistent with the client's goal for the unconscious mind to accept and make changes. Your brain will not allow suggestions or accept suggestions that are not consistent with what you desire. So therefore, quacking like a duck, pretty much impossible, unless you want to quack like a duck. Hypnosis, as I said, has to be realistic and achievable, and it is not magic. There is no magic wand, so you do need to go away, and you do need to behave in the way consistent with your goal. So, for example, what I mean by that is if you actually want to give up or quit smoking, and you walk out of the quit smoking session and you light up a cigarette, that's not consistent with your goal. So in hypnotherapy, the client relaxes, hopefully in a nice, comfortable chair, but bare minimum in a chair where that they are safe and free from harm, because the client does become quite relaxed, and we obviously don't want the client falling and injuring themselves in a relaxed state. This relaxation opens the client's mind up to accepting suggestions consistent with the goal that they're looking for. And again, remembering clients cannot be made to do something that they do not wish to do. So how does the therapist get the client to relax? Well, a lot of that is done in the pre-talk. So before we actually even start the hypnosis component. So it's about building a rapport with the client to make sure that they're comfortable first of all. The therapist then may use some form of imagery or a guided type or like a guided meditation type scenario where you're just visualizing, relaxing, and breathing. That then gets the client nice and relaxed and allows the opportunity for the positive suggestions to be accepted as the client then moves into the hypnotic state. So once the client is in hypnosis, and this is understood by the therapist by visually observing the client for signs that the client is in hypnosis. The suggestions are then offered, and the suggestions consistent with the goal are offered, and the unconscious mind obviously, hopefully, then accepts them and implements the changes. So, the suggestions have been given and it's time to finish the session. What then? Well, the therapist has offered the suggestions. The client becomes more alert, in awakened state, and is more than capable of proceeding safely outside the room and performing the rest of their day in a very alert state. So often I get asked the question, how many sessions, how long? Um, it's quite simply, it's really individual to each person. What their goal is, what it is that they're happy to achieve, how committed they are to that process. If a client is resisting the process, then obviously it's going to take some time to build the rapport or the trust. Or if they're just resisting it because they're analyzing the process too often, then it is going to actually take a little bit longer for that client to achieve their goals. Clients are also given skills and strategies to take home to implement on a regular basis to help maintain optimal mental health and ensure that their goal stays where they're hoping it will stay. This is a note from me. Hypnotherapists, in fact, any therapist working with the mind, does not heal a person. If we were able to heal you, that would be the magic wand and the magic pill. However, what a therapist does is provide the right environment and the skills and strategies based on clients' individual needs and strengths for the client to heal themselves. So the therapeutic relationship is incredibly important. So the client trusts the therapist enough to take on board the skills and strategies that they're recommending, and to relax enough into the session so that the suggestions may be accepted. Again, we are not healers. That's my personal statement. There are many, many, many therapists out there who refer to themselves as healers. Clients heal themselves because nobody can make you do something that you don't want to do. An important note to remember, not all symptoms and experiences are anxiety. Everyone is different and experiences anxiety differently. So when in doubt about any of your symptoms, please consult your GP. So what are some other strategies for maintaining good mental health? Mindfulness practice, ensuring your water intake is suitable for your needs, ensuring that your nutrition is sufficient, regular exercise, good sleep. Good sleep is absolutely critical to good mental health well-being, and is even more critical when we're entering into phases of change, because the brain needs to implement and create those change patterns, so therefore needs that a little bit of extra assistance. And counselling and other suitable mental health practitioner interventions are also an opportunity to maintain great mental health well-being. So in conclusion, it is possible to manage anxiety and live a happy and productive life. Hypnotherapy is only one tool, but a very valuable modality to consider when engaging in a program of well-being. Connection with a suitable mental health practitioner under the supervision of your GP will put you in good stead for achieving the life that you want. However, as mentioned earlier, every person is an individual and should be treated as such. And no experience of anxiety is exactly the same for everyone. So let's just cover a couple of commonly asked questions. Will I cluck like a duck? Yes, it's a seriously often asked assumption and or question. The answer is no, not unless you want to. Remember, no one can make you do something that you don't want to do. Stage hypnosis, where you see people quacking like ducks, I should say, barking like dogs, They're doing that because there is this underlying buy-in which says, yeah, I'll be happy to do this while I'm up on stage. Will you make me watch a pendulum? Look, pendulums were used many, many years ago, and pendulums still have a place sometimes in therapy. Pendulums are just a means to get the client concentrating on something. So out of perhaps an anxious state and into relaxing, and that deep state of concentration can be achieved by watching a pendulum swing. Last common question, is hypnosis just like falling asleep? No, it's not. It's similar to that phase in between awake and asleep, where you're just catching yourself just before you go to sleep. As I mentioned, it's a deep state of concentration, so therefore is incredibly relaxing on its own because there's nothing else on your mind. Thank you for joining me in this presentation. A very quick, short, sharp presentation that's hopefully given you a greater insight into the use of hypnotherapy and an insight into hypnotherapy and how it can help with anxiety in particular. As I mentioned, it can help with other conditions, but if you or somebody you know is suffering excessive anxiety and you think that this could be something for them, then, maybe, or yourself, then get them to investigate. Google out there has an absolute phenomenal amount of information. So, I'm not the only source of information. I am happy to answer any questions from anybody at any time. But, there's plenty of information out there that could help somebody make an informed decision as well. Thanks again. Hope to see you soon. Bye. Feel free to pop on over to my website, www.kerryellis.au, for more information on anxiety and hypnotherapy, and also to download a sheet on free tips on how to reduce and manage anxiety. As I mentioned earlier, any questions at all, please do not hesitate to send me an email, give me a call, or touch base through Messenger. Have a great day.